All right, Coach, the question this week is a recent study recently found that about 40% of people would spend a week in jail if it meant wiping away their loans, erasing their loans. What are your thoughts on that? Would you spend a week in jail if it meant taking care of your loans as well?
Oh, but hey, let me just say this. Nobody had more student loans than I did. Or that had less of a chance of paying them back. So I left undergrad, no student loans. I'd go home to Wyoming every summer. So I went 8 semesters, summer, winter, then went home, worked, and then paid for the semesters. Worked on campus too. So I didn't have any loans after undergrad. Then law school, I had a ton of student loans, like 38,000. Then I had, then I got out of law school and wanted to look at coaching, and married and had my first daughter. So, so then I would have, I did the logical thing, to buy another year and to finance my coach football habit, and got a master's. I took out another student loan, which brought my total up to about $45,000. And at that point in time, they had about as much chance of getting $45,000 as they did $45 million. Because that may have been the bill. I mean, $45 million. Because make $1 billion, I don't care. I mean, and I figured they could only kill me once, and so then I started pursuing coaching. And in the midst of that, so you got to understand, my first job I made $3,000 for the year. My second job I probably made, I don't know, maybe 10. Living in Southern California, I could substitute teach in the off season some, and then then the next job I'm making like $13,000 in Iowa, but you can't substitute teach because they're only paying you like $30 a day, So then it really wasn't worth it. And so then, because I was cutting away from my regular job, and so then at Wesleyan, though, they did let me teach a couple classes, and I had the weird distinction of teaching 2 classes while taking a class or 2. And the reason I took a class or 2, and the worst of it is the interest rate on my loans were crazy high, because mine were negotiated under the Carter administration. And not to get too political with those of you that may wilt, the Carter administration was not the administration to take your student loans out under, okay? But I did. I didn't have any choice. It was like, okay, let's see, wait till the next, okay, here we go. No, so so it's a high interest rate, like crazy high. I can't remember, like 8 or something. And then, I get, so I'm teaching class while taking class, because if you took class, then you could defer the loans until you quit taking class, see? And they did let you do it part-time. I could do it part-time. I didn't have to go full-time, which sometimes you do, depending, what loans you take out, sometimes you do, So I could defer them if I'm going to school half-time. And I'd take classes I was interested in, and they're pretty good classes. Philosophy of Western thought, civilization, abstract expressionist artists, history of Cuba, history of the Caribbean. So they were good classes. But I was dead broke and took those classes so that I could defer my loans. So as 6 months after you leave school, 6 months after you leave, then they start charging you interest on the loan and start calling for payments. Well, I have any payment. I mean, couldn't pay to support myself. My wife's working, I'm working, not getting paid very much, and then daughter's at daycare, and so then, so then occasionally the bill collector would call. So I try to defer them as much as I could, take a class. So like during the season, no classes, during the winter classes, then I would have to go recruiting or something, and then I'd have to cut a deal with the teacher because I'd miss a significant class, and, do a big paper, or participate in a bunch in class when you're there, that type of thing. So I'd negotiate that out, but I wasn't really doing it for a grade and didn't need the grades or anything. And then, and by then I was a pretty good paper writer, after law school and everything. And then sometimes these bill collectors would call you. I'd have some knockdown, drag-out conversations with those jokers. So like all those videos that you've seen on the internet are nothing compared to what I was prepared to say to those guys. And then, and then the worst thing was then they would commingle, when you start making payments, they would commingle collection services. So one collection service says, we haven't heard from you in 4 months, pay your full loans due, pay up or else. Like I'm gonna just write a check for $45,000, of course. And then, the other service would send you something saying, thanks for your payment, and we look forward to getting it next month. So I'm getting two contradictory things. One says, where are you at? And we haven't seen you. And I used to tell these guys, I said, listen, you can either give me another couple months. You can either give me another couple months or accept a lower payment amount, or else I'll go to Mexico. I'll drop off the grid. I'll disappear. You will never see me again. And so, and some were more reasonable than others, but some, like if you want to see some of the biggest pricks on earth, they work in student loan collection, and the fact that they work there, it's just relatively disgusting people. They're the type that aspire to be dog catchers or something like that. Okay, and then yep, I'm gonna pick up that cat or dog so I can break that kid's heart. So they that goes back and forth, and then so they can't even untangle the paper of what they've received and what they haven't. They didn't even know how much they'd received, and so then I said, okay, I'm not paying any of you, because whatever I pay you, you're losing. You can't even keep track of it. Typical action, typical federal government stuff, right? Federal government should manage everything, and they can't even keep track of student loan payments they're getting from, at least not mine. And so let's see, that's it. Let's have the federal government handle it. They can't sort their paper out. I refuse to pay. And then somehow it starts going up the chain, like I didn't have much of an ability to pay anyway. Then it starts going up the chain, and then they get the thing, and then I start taking classes again, and then somehow I in the sea of bureaucrats, I ended up talking to somebody that had some sense, some reason, okay? And so he understands, okay, I'm gonna write this up, okay, yeah, you were getting stuff where they demanded payment, said you were 6 months behind, and then the other saying, thank you for the payment you sent. He goes, okay, I got you. And he did get the thing back on track. Okay, so then he gets it back on track. And as I get to the University of Kentucky, I'm able to make monthly payments on my student loan. And you can do the math, this was a lot of years. It wasn't until my second year as head coach at Texas Tech, that I got my student loans paid for. So needless to say, this is what I spend a week Would I spend a week in jail to get rid of my student loans? I would have spent 3 months in jail to get rid of my student loans, and I would have done it happily. And eventually, before it's all said and done, I'd be leading prison calisthenics and stuff like that, you know, requesting certain menu items, stuff like that, you know, going to the best shank builder and get a good shank, you know, for if I needed anything like that. You damn right I would have gone. I would have gone for 3 months. That thing has been a corrupt mess for a long time. A week. I mean, I would have been like that leprechaun on the damn Lucky Charms if they said, okay, 1 week, all your student loans are erased. I would have gone in the hole for 1 week.
Any other questions for Coach? All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.